Okay, so here's a quick video on how to solve number 3, and I'll give you some insights into number 2 and number 4. I've already did number 1 and some other problems on the video notes from March 23rd. All right, the first thing you need to know is you have a law that's called the ideal gas law, and it's down here on your Chem Cruncher. So you have P, V, N, R, and T, and you should know what each of those stands for. P is pressure, V is volume. The new variable is N, which is moles. And then you have R value, which are listed here. You have 3 different R values. This is 0.0821. And then you have another value that's 8.31. And then you have another value that is 62.4. All right, and the only difference, the way you tell which R value you're going to use is by looking at what unit of pressure they use. So they all say liters times a unit of pressure divided by temperature times moles. So this one has ATM. So if I give you the pressure and it's an ATM, then you use this value here. And then this one has kilopascals, so you would use this one if I give you kilopascals for pressure. And this one has millimeters of mercury, so you would use this one if I gave you millimeters of mercury. Okay, you don't have to worry about these at all. We don't use those in our class. So N is moles. So when you're doing these problems, if you look at a problem and you notice that you have some for instance, like if we're looking at let's actually just look at number 2 for a second. I can look and see that I have a temperature here, which has to be in Kelvin. And then I can look and see that I have a unit of volume here. They're asking me for pressure. Okay. And then if you have pressure, you also have your R value. Okay. So here they said, what is the pressure in this container in, excuse me, in millimeters of mercury. Okay, so if I go down here to where my R values are, this is the one that says millimeters of mercury. So that one tells me that my R value for this up here is going to be 62.4. That's my R value. And then they said we're looking for pressure. So far we have R, we have T, we have V, but we don't have moles. Okay, so let me write out the equation for you really quickly. PV equals nRT. Okay, we're looking for P, so that means we should have everything else. So based on number 2, we have V, we have R, and we have T. We do have to do some conversions because they have to cancel out with everything that's in this unit. So we have volume in liters. Our temperature is not in K yet, so up here we would have to add 273 to that. Okay, our volume is in liters. We're going to find pressures in millimeters of mercury. We have our R value. We don't have moles. We don't have moles, but we do have grams, and we know how to go from grams to mole. We should know how to do that. So we can take this and go from grams, change it to moles, and that will give you your moles. Then you're plugging in everything and you're solving for P. If you solve correctly, if you have all of this stuff, you're going to have P times, you're going to have P, I'm going to try to stay color coordinated. P is equal to, you're going to have some number for V, and it's equal to some number for N, some number for R. Well, actually, we can say what R is. R is 62.4 times T. 20 plus 273, that's 293. Okay, and then you have a number for, so to solve for P, we can even go in and fill in this. This is 2. And for moles, you would do 1.09 grams of H2 divided by 2.02 grams of H2 is equal to 1 mole of H2. So whatever number you got here, that would go here. All right. So this is also being multiplied. So to solve for P, we would take all of these numbers and divide it by 2. Because we're going to divide by 2 on this side to cancel it out. So P is equal to all of these numbers divided by 2. Okay. You have to have everything in the right unit to cancel out with everything that's in this. This is just a unit. Okay. This guy right here is just a unit. You are not plugging in any numbers here. Okay. The numbers are right here. This is the number that you would use. And you use that based off of what unit of pressure you need. Okay. All right. So if we look at number 3, it looks like they didn't give us a lot of information. They said, what volume will 20 grams of argon occupy at STP? Okay. If you need to list out everything you got, then do that. All right. So you know you need P, V, N, R, which is based off of P, and T. All right. So let's see what we got. They're looking for, on number 3, they said what volume. So we know that's what we're looking for. So this is our X, or our question mark. Okay. All right. They didn't say a particular unit of pressure, so we can really use any pressure. If you see STP, standard temperature and pressure, that's right here in this box, STP. Okay. Standard temperature and pressure. If I don't ask you for anything in particular, you could use any of these units of pressure, okay? So you could use 1 atm, or you could use 101.3 kilopascals, or 760 millimeters of mercury, or 760 torr, okay? And then your temperature is always going to be 273 Kelvin, okay? Pretty sure on the answer key I gave you the answer in all of those units, so you could just pick one, okay? So let's just do kilopascals, for instance. Okay, so let's say you want, well, let's just do ATMs. So you want to do ATM. So my pressure is going to be 1, because standard pressure is 1 ATM. So I'm going to plug in a 1 here, 1 ATM. Since I'm using ATM, I go find which one of these R values have ATM. Okay, and it's this one. So that means my R value should be 0.0821. Make sure you don't forget that extra 0 when you're typing these in your calculator. That's another common mistake. Okay. N, they did not give us an N value. They didn't give us any moles. T, we know. Standard temperature, 273. All right. And N, they didn't give us moles, but they did give us grams of a element. So 20 grams of argon. Get my Chem Cruncher here. 20 grams of argon. Argon is 39.95 grams. It's equal to 1 mole. So that is equal to 20 divided by 39.95. Half a mole, 0.500 moles. So now I'm just going to plug in everything. All right. So I'm plugging it back into the equation. PV equals nRT. P was a 1. V we were looking for. All right. Is equal to N 0.500. R we said was 0.0821. And T we said was 273. All right. So here, if I want V by itself, on a side by itself, don't divide this the wrong way. I would need to divide this side by 1, which cancels this out, which leaves V by itself, which means I divide this side by 1. So basically 0.5 times 0.0821 times 273. I got V to be equal to 11.206 if you did it in sig figs. 11.2. Okay, you can count if you want to do the sig figs, you could say 10. Okay, so usually I put a range in on a Canvas quiz, so you could put in probably anywhere from 10 to 11 point, maybe 21, and you will be okay. Okay, all right. Number 4, very quickly, how many moles of gas will be present in a gas trap with 100 milliliters? All right, 25 degrees Celsius at a temperature of 25 atmospheres. Okay, so here is my pressure, which means I also know my R value. This is atmospheres. Atmospheres is this one right here. So this is R is equal to 0.0821. This volume here is in milliliters, so you need to change that to liters. All right, there's 1,000 milliliters is equal to 1 liter, so you need to divide this number by 1,000. 100 divided by 1,000. I'll show you the bridge. 100 milliliters, 1,000 milliliters, 1 liter. So you need to divide that. That would give you your V. So far you got P, you got V, you got R, you're looking for N. Here's T, but it's in Celsius, so you need to add 273 to it, not 273.15. And then that will give you your T. So I'm not going to do all the math for it, but you would end up we're looking for moles, all right? You have a number for P, you have a number for V. Is equal to, you're looking for N, which is moles, and then you had a number for R and you had a number for T. To solve for N by itself, you would need to get rid of the stuff on this side here. So here I would divide by this number times this number. That would cancel these out. And that means I would have to move everything to the other side to get N to be by itself. So over here, I'm dividing by a number, the number for R and the number for T. And that's how you're going to get N. All right, hopefully this helps. You guys better make sure you're watching these videos because this is a pretty easy unit actually.